It is time for us to think differently at work and understand how AI will challenge different generations in different ways. When we look at the map of New York City, we immediately notice the regular grid of streets and avenues. City planners rationalize that a grid plan is very practical and would make it easier for people to find places. People felt in line and built New York City around that plan. Now, when we look at a similar view of Boston, we noticed a more natural street plan that mostly followed the geography of the land. The city grew organically, with people building where it made sense to them. Later, the street plan just followed the old cow path defined by the historic citizens of Boston. The difference between people following the plan and the plan following people is a great metaphor for how we approach the solution for complex business problems, with structure or with intuition. As in other episodes of this series, after we understand the concept, we'll provide an actionable plan which you can use to advance your career, and I will share insights from my own career as an entrepreneur and tech senior leader. Let's get started with paving the cow path and how you become a holistic thinker, not a system analyst. Welcome to AI Skill Pivot, a careerzcast series preparing you for the adoption of AI in the workplace. Paving the Cow Path. We opened this episode comparing New York City and Boston as representing top-down and bottom-up thinking. What happens when they don't agree with each other? Exactly, you end up losing both the elegance of a harmonious design and the effectiveness of letting people move around the campus. Now let's transpose this classic story into business. Before the internet, my generation built careers on top-down analysis. We relied on the vision synthesized by a leader with great insight, and everyone else went to school, learned a framework to decompose a vision into projects and tasks and execution. That's how we design products, processes, and systems that then force reality to fit in our design framework. For example, the iPhone was designed top-down nearly 20 years ago. Steve Jobs and John Ive at Apple claimed to understand customer needs before customers knew they needed it, which proved to be true, at least in the case of the iPhone. But that's not the only way to approach a problem. As digital technology became the core of many products and services we purchase today, we gained the ability to find the patterns in massive amounts of data and build solutions synthesized from actually used behavior and preferences, dispensing the need for the vision of a single person. For example, Facebook was built without a great vision. Mark Zuckerberg just moved fast, broke things, and relied on instinct, and had the courage to pivot, following what data said about user preferences. In the upcoming AI era, we will learn how to use AI tools to enhance our ability to use top-down and bottom-up thinking. Without the tools, you are left behind. To become the pilot of the tool, you need to understand and expand your way of thinking to be more versatile and holistic. So this is the holistic pivot. Before the internet, top-down thinking was dominant in large corporations. With the internet, bottom-up thinking became a valid alternative to solve problems and build companies. So for example, if you are in engineering and you have a structured waterfall process that goes from marketing requirements to product requirements to engineering plans, you operate with a top-down thinking. If you define MVPs based on user conversations and iterate through an incremental agile process to define the next set of features, you operate more bottom-up. If you are in marketing and you start from customer demographic data to select the channels and target campaigns to get leads, you operate top-down. If you launch experimental campaigns and move budget between media channels through A/B testing to find where your audience is and who they are, you operate bottom-up. If you're anywhere and your work is precise and predictable, defined by a clear process, you're operating top-down. If you have the mandate to solve the problem without clear instructions on how to do it, you're operating bottom up. With the adoption of AI over the next decade, we'll gain the ability to accelerate problem solving if we understand both thinking frameworks and can pilot the tools correctly. So let's now look at how you can prepare to thrive with AI tools instead of being replaced by technology. The pivot: be the holistic thinker. As we become a holistic thinker, we are aware and capable of alternating and iterating the thinking from one mode to another. As we described earlier, depending on how and when your company became successful, your workplace will have a specific culture that's imposed on you. Generally, pre-internet companies are more structured and operate predominantly top-down, decomposing a big mission and vision into projects and priorities. Post-internet companies are often bottom-up. There is no long-term vision other than follow the customer, and the plan is formed in real time in response to results of experimentation. It is also important for you to recognize what is your natural way of thinking, independent of environment. So my generation, Gen X and older millennials, tend to default to top-down structured analytical thinking. We grew up in a world where accurate data was difficult to obtain and scientific synthesis was just not possible. We became experts in breaking a large, complex problem into manageable parts. We look at a business, write a 50-page requirements document, and build a plan and then execute it. It's logical, it's academic, and authoritative. Most of the audience of this channel, Gen Z and younger millennials, tend to default to intuitive bottom-up thinking. You grew up with the internet, a giant messy network of cow paths. You don't follow a user manual. You go to social media and look at the real-time feedback loop. You are natural synthesizers. You take 1,000 signals, identify a pattern, and then execute by trial and error. Why does this matter in 2026? Because for the first time, AI can automate synthesis. If you are a system analyst, the AI is faster than you. If you rely on data intuition, the AI has more data and is more accurate than you. Let's get technical just for a moment. When an AI LLM like ChatGPT solves a problem, it isn't really analyzing the way we do it. It's performing a high-dimensional synthesis using massive amounts of cross-domain data. It's looking at every cow path ever walked in the history of the internet and finding the most probable next step. Because AI is so good at paving paths, it occasionally paves them into a dead end. It can synthesize a solution that's technically efficient but strategically disastrous. This is where critical thinking comes in. As a pilot of AI, you aren't there to check the AI math. You are there to apply context and domain expertise to make sure the most probable next path is the best for the specific problem you're solving now. Also, the synthesis done by LLMs is very shallow. LLMs cannot take the leap between ground-level data and insights into a viable collective vision for the company. So the high-level synthesis will continue to be the most valuable human skill, and you need to start practicing it now. So at least for the foreseeable future, there will be scope for humans to continue to drive the solution of complex business problems as long as they understand both the process and the strengths and weaknesses of AI tools. So here is 5 concrete pieces of advice that form a holistic thinker playbook. Number 1, practice reverse inquiry. Practice reversing your thinking when you face an important decision. You might be surprised to find that some of your top-down core assumptions are not true, or that the most popular bottom-up path you have been following leads to a strategic dead end. Number 2, particularly for Gen Z, you are great with the what, the data, but you need to work on the why. Don't let the data lead you off a cliff just because it's a popular direction. Cross-functional awareness, particularly for Gen X. A holistic thinker looks at the whole map. If the cow path in sales is hurting the sidewalk in customer support, you need to be the one to see it. Number 4, the human in the loop audit. Every time AI suggests a synthesis or a solution, perform a gut check. Is the path the best to solve the specific problem we are facing? And number 5, intergenerational mentorship. Gen X, find a Gen Z data native and learn how they navigate information. Gen Z, find a Gen X system architect and learn how they build for longevity. Learn from someone who thinks different from you. Career insight. In my career, I found myself acting as a thought leader in a small organization. The vision for the company was not formulated in a vacuum. We need to align it with signals of where the broader market was going. This is how I became aware that I was working on a top-down vision that had to be aware of the bottom-up data. When I was at Google leading technology for consumer operations, we are doing something similar. We had clearly defined mission and vision and strategic priorities for the organization, which is a top-down artifact. But the vision didn't come from the head of a leader, but from the synthesis of insights and data from across the organization. While the details of how we will implement it will take shape in the next decade, there is urgency in my advice for you to become aware and practice reverse thinking. You need to be prepared to be the pilot of AI, not the passenger. And a final note, when I say you need to be able to alternate between top-down and bottoms-up, I don't mean to say you stay in the middle. It is about being able to do both depending on the circumstance. That's how you become the pilot of AI. Conclusion and call to action. I hope the second episode of AI Skill Pivot series has been thought-provoking and actionable to you. Being a holistic thinker means having the humility to follow the data and the courage to lead the vision. In the next episode, we will explore the concept of inspired leadership. For now, don't forget to subscribe and activate the notifications so you don't miss the next episode. And you can download the Skill Audit PDF. It's an assessment tool for your skills, and the link is in the descriptions. And I see you in the episode 3 of AI Skill Pivot.